Yeah, you know what I did before I got on my flight? You know what the fuck I did? Well, of course I played with my kids and I took them to school and all of that shit. But after that, I actually went and I played drums for like a second, like 5 minutes. 10 minutes or whatever time I had. I have gotten into a bad habit as a parent where I bribe my son with cookies, because he's like super strong and really strong-willed. And like, if you're carrying him, like, okay, we're going inside, you go to pick him up, he just like grabs 2 handfuls of your t-shirt and he starts, no, he starts pointing the other way. So the other day there was some people over and they were, trimming the trees. If you get fires out here, you got to make sure you don't have all this shit touching your house, right? So they're trimming the trees and my son was just fascinated by it. And he was going, hi, saying hello to everybody because he's a little sweetheart. And every time I would go inside, he would just grab me like I owed him money, just 2 handfuls of t-shirt, and he would start flipping out. And then finally, I was like, oh, you want to keep watching him? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. And then finally I was like, dude, we have to go inside because I got to go to the airport and everything. And he starts, flipping out again. And finally I go, you want a cookie? And then he just looks at the workers in the tree and he waves. He goes, bye-bye. We started walking in the house. I go, cookie? He goes, cookie. So I gave him half a Girl Scout cookie. It's kind of funny. You know what? I'm finding like, the good cop, bad cop thing in my relationship with my lovely wife is, sorry I'm yawning here, I'm still fucking wiped out. I'm finding is she's more of a disciplinarian, which is good. Like she calls him out on their shit and I'm just too much of a softie. So what I really have to do, but I'm smart enough that I know I cannot undermine. You got to be a unified front as a couple with your kids, or else they'll just start, going around. They'll just go to the person that's going to say yes in that situation. But I have to admit, it's really hard for me. Because I have to admit, like when a kid has a meltdown, I just think it's fucking funny to me. It's funny, or I just go, all right, what are we doing here? But it's like funny to me, but like my wife is so good at seeing what that behavior is going to lead to. I think I have too much of like, I got yelled at as a kid. I didn't like that. So I'm going to be, I'm going to take a different approach. And I think my kids, both of them already know that I'm the softie that they can kind of get over on. So I got to kind of like, I got to come more my wife's way because, she knows all the tricks. She goes, no, what she does is when she doesn't like her dinner, she just says she's full and then her stomach hurts. And then we throw it out. And then like an hour later, she says she's hungry and then asks for what she really wants. I mean, that sounds like a really simple caper, right? But she was getting me on it all the time. And I was like, oh, I don't want you to go to bed hungry. What do you want? You want some cereal? My wife is looking at me like, this is why she's not eating her vegetables. She's doing this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like I really am a fucking moron when it comes to that shit. So, and I'll tell you, one of my favorite things in the world is watching my wife be a mother because she is amazing at it. She has everything is like perfectly balanced. She's silly, she's fun, she's affectionate, but then she knows when to drop the hammer, like, all right, that's enough. That's enough, and I know what you're doing. I feel like I'm Sergeant Schultz on fucking, what was it, not McHale's Navy, on not Kelly's Heroes. The fuck was that called? Oh, Jesus Christ. I see nothing. Hogan's Heroes. There we go.